When you watch an air show performance like this one by U.S. aerobatic champion Patty Wagstaff, it's hard to believe there's only 4 possible things that you can do with an airplane. But it's true. And when you learn these 4 simple things, you can make an airplane do anything you want. Now, if you want to get fancy, you can call these 4 things that you can do with an airplane the 4 fundamentals of flight. And what those 4 things are that you can do are climbs, turns, descents, and straight and level flight. One of the 4 things that you can do is something every flight begins with, a climb. So how do you make the airplane climb? First, apply back pressure to the control wheel to pitch the airplane to the proper climb attitude. And you set that climb attitude by looking at the sight picture out the windshield, and also at the angle the bottom of the wings make with the horizon. Now, as the airplane slows, smoothly add full power by pushing the throttle all the way forward, and add some right rudder to help keep the airplane from turning left. One reason the airplane wants to turn to the left when you're flying at slower airspeeds and using lots of power, like when you're climbing, is that the propeller turns to the right or clockwise. So just like Newton said it would, the airplane tries to turn to the left, and that's why you use right rudder. You can then relieve the back pressure on the control wheel with the trim. And there you are, in a climb. So to start a climb, you want to apply back pressure, add full power, and add right rudder. Now, it's important not to forget that now with the nose of the airplane raised to the climb attitude, your visibility is going to be blocked straight ahead. You can keep a lookout for other traffic either by briefly lowering the nose as you climb or by making some shallow turns and checking the area ahead. The second thing you can do with an airplane is a turn. Now, while it's rare to see other aircraft when you're away from an airport, you still do want to raise the wing on the side that you'll be turning toward, in this case left, and briefly look in the direction you'll be turning. Look in front of and behind the airplane too. After you check there's no one there, look out the windshield to establish a bank to the left. You do this by rotating the control wheel to the left. This deflects the ailerons and rolls the airplane into a left bank. At the same time, press the left rudder pedal to keep the nose from yawing in the wrong direction. Now, when you tilt the lift to the side, less of it is vertical. So when you bank, you also add a little back pressure on the elevator control to keep from descending. When you've got the bank angle you want, return the ailerons and rudder to neutral. The airplane will continue to turn. So to start a turn, what you do is raise the wing on the side that you're going to be turning and look for traffic. Rotate the control wheel in that direction, add some rudder for the same side, and add a little bit of back pressure. And then when the bank angle is established, neutralize the ailerons and rudder, and the airplane will keep turning. So how do you stop the turn? You just simply use the opposite control input. So in this case, move the control wheel to the right. That deflects the ailerons to roll the wings level. Use right rudder as needed to keep the nose from going in the opposite direction. As the wings become level, release the back pressure. Then bring the control wheel back to neutral. The airplane will stop turning. The next thing you can do with an airplane is a descent. The best way to do a descent is first to reduce the power smoothly by pulling back on the throttle. Now let's say you reduce the power 500 RPM from about 2200 to 1700 RPM. Now remember, since you used right rudder when you added power to climb to keep the nose from turning left, you now have to use a little bit of left rudder when you decrease power to keep the nose from turning to the right. Keep the nose level until the airspeed decreases to a good approach speed. We'll use about 75 knots. And then just relax some of the control wheel pressure and let the nose go below the horizon to establish a good glide attitude. The more you lower the nose, the faster your glide speed will be. We'll put the nose at an attitude that'll give us about 75 knots, and you'll get used to this with practice. So to establish a descent, reduce the power, add just a little bit of left rudder, and relax the control wheel pressure to let the nose drop. People always want to know what happens when the engine quits. Well, the answer is not much. And to show this, you can bring the throttle back all the way to idle. All that happens is that you descend faster, but the airplane is still completely controllable. In fact, this is what you do every time you land the airplane. Now, if you're making a long descent, more than just 200 feet or so, you want to look for other airplanes in the area in front of and below you. And you do that by making shallow turns to the left and to the right, just enough to see past the nose. Now, as you reach the altitude where you want to level off, just bring the throttle up to about 2200 RPM and adjust the pitch for a level flight attitude. And remember to relax that left rudder. The most important thing you can do with an airplane is also the most subtle: straight and level flight. Now, straight flight means that the airplane is not turning, and level flight means that the airplane is holding a level altitude, it's not climbing and not descending. The secret to flying straight is to pick out a distant point on the horizon in the direction you want to fly, like this mountain peak out here, and keep the airplane headed towards it. Now, if you see that point move to the left of its original position on your windscreen, then you'll need to make a small turn to the left in order to put it back. The secret to keeping the airplane level at one altitude is to keep the airplane's nose in the same position with the horizon. And you can figure out what that position is by experimenting. Soon it will be automatic for you. Now, the bottom of the wings can also help with straight and level. Look to the side and compare the angle the bottom of the wing makes with the horizon. This will give you a good level flight cue. Then look at one side and out to the other to compare the distance between each wingtip and the horizon. If they're both the same, then you have the wings level, the airplane is not turning, and you are flying straight. So to fly straight and level, pick out a distant point on the horizon and fly towards it. Keep the nose of the airplane at the same position with the horizon and compare the wings and the wingtips with the horizon to make sure the wings are level. Keeping the airplane straight and level really is just a continuous chain of small corrections. You see a change in one direction, so you make a correction in the other. And after a while, you won't even notice that you're making them. So now you know the 4 things that you can do with an airplane. And you also know that even this fantastic performance by Patty Wagstaff is just a combination of those 4 things. A very exciting combination.